Okay, good afternoon. This is our lesson 6 and this is about lipids. This will be our last topic for the second quarter. So this is included in your long exam number 2, which will be held on the third day of the period. Okay? So lipids. Etong lipids is one of the four biomolecules sa pag-aaralan natin that is not considered polymers. No? So, meron tayong pag-aaralan na apat, 'di ba? The carbohydrates, the lipids, the protein, and the nucleic acids. Dun sa apat na yon, yung tatlo ay polymers, itong lipid ay hindi polymer. Okay. So, ano nga ba ang lipids? Lipids are macromolecules made up of fatty acid monomers. So, meron din siyang monomer, pero tatlo-tatlo lang siya. Hanggang tatlo lang siya, kaya hindi natin siya kinukonsider na polymer. The function of lipids includes structural support of the cell. So, ginagamit natin yung structural support of the cell kasi nga, ang lipids ay ginagamit to para sa cell membrane. Nag-store din to ng energy in the form of adipose. Okay? At pwede rin siyang ginagamit for signaling like ng mga steroids natin. Okay? Lipids are non-polar. So, ibig sabihin, hindi sila nag-interact with water. Kung hindi sila nag-interact with water or they poorly mix with water. Okay, there are several types of lipids, pero ito lang ang pag-aaralan natin. So, number 1 is the triglycerides, the phospholipids, and steroids and waxes. So, dito, steroids lang. Very short lang ng ating discussion ng lipids kasi nga, I think ito lang yung magiging discussion natin sa lipids. Okay, I will make it short. So, ang lipid molecule, ang kanyang basic structure is glycerol and 3 fatty acids. So, kaya siya tinatawag, glycerol and fatty acids. Sa triglycerides, kaya siya tinatawag na triglyceride kasi it contains 1 glycerol and 3 fatty acids. So, kung titingnan natin sa formula, so ito yung ating glycerol, yung fatty acid will combine with the glycerol dun sa OH group niya, no? Via the dehydration reaction. Katulad din dun sa carbohydrates na diniscuss ko sa inyo. So, dahil tatlo yung kanyang OH group dito, so meron siyang capability to bind to 3 fatty acids. So, ito yung ating triglycerol. So, we have this glycerol and the fatty acids, kung saan ito ay naggagawa siya ng linkage na tinatawag nating ester linkage. Okay?
Butter, lard, margarine, and salad oil are composed of lipids called fats. To make a fat molecule, 3 fatty acids bind to a molecule of glycerol. For this reason, fat molecules are technically called triglycerides. Fat molecules do not mix with water because they have 3 long nonpolar hydrocarbon tails. Cells use fats for energy storage because the tails hold more potential energy than other biological molecules. The fatty acid tails in a fat can vary in length. A very important characteristic of fats is the number of double bonds in the hydrocarbon tails. Fats that contain only single bonds are called saturated fats. Fats containing double bonds in one or more tails are called unsaturated fats. Unsaturated fats tend to be liquid at room temperature. Vegetable oils are examples. Saturated fats, like butter and lard, are solid at room temperature. Saturated fats in the diet can lead to heart disease, while unsaturated fats are safer.
Okay? So, ano nung matututunan natin sa video na ito? Number 1, yung triglycerides. Yung triglycerides ay kinocompose siya ng dalawang groups, the fats and oils. No? Actually, yung fat is just the saturated kasi kaya siya tinawag na fats kasi solid siya in room temperature. Nung oils naman, liquid siya at room temperature. Nung fatty acid, dun sa video kanina, ng fatty acid may vary in length. So, it depend dun sa number of hydrocarbon dun sa fatty acid na ito. And the location and the number of the double bands. So, pag maraming double bands, ito ay nagiging unsaturated. Pag walang double band, ay saturated fatty acid. Sa example natin, saturated fat, The saturated fat, example natin yung mga butter, no? So, yung mga butter at room temperature, they are solid. So, ito na kanilang structural formula. At ito yung space filling model nito. Most animal fats are saturated. Okay? So, pangalawang klase ng unsaturated fats. Ng unsaturated fats, kung makikita natin dito sa illustration na ito, meron siyang double bond dito. Okay? Pwede magkaroon ng several double bonds to. No? So, magkakaroon siya ng bend. Dahil hindi siya naka-linear, they are liquid at room temperature. Kaya sila tinatawag din ng oil. No? Yung mga fats na galing sa plants and fishes are usually unsaturated. Kaya yung mga fish oil, no, vegetable oil, they are unsaturated, kaya sila liquid. Okay? So, yung mga diet natin, no, so anong masasabi natin sa diet natin tungkol sa fats, no? Yung diet rich in saturated fatty acid yung masama sa atin. For example, yung mga butter, no, pag masyadong marami nun, kasi magiging magdideposit siya sa ating cardiovascular system. So, magkakaroon siya ng plaque deposit, so pwede magkaroon ng blockage doon. Now, yung margarine, compared sa, for example, dairy cream is not a butter, it's a margarine na flavored na butter. So, yung margarine actually is a vegetable oil na nag-undergo ng process na tinatawag na hydrogenation. So, bakit yung margarine ay solid at room temperature? Kasi, man-made process yun para magkaroon ka ng double bonds. Okay? Para siya maging ma-solidify. However, itong hydrogenation na ito, nag-create siya ng unsaturated fat na nasa trans configuration. Meron kasing dalawang configuration, the cis and the trans. Ito yung illustration ng dalawang configuration na yun. This is the cis configuration and this is the trans configuration. This is the naturally occurring double bonds in fatty acid na makikita natin sa plants and fish, no? So makikita ninyo yung hydrogen nila ay nasa isang side. So kaya siya nagbe-bend. Pero sa trans, dahil ito ay synthetic yung paglalagay natin ng hydrogen bond dito, merong mga cases na nagiging opposite side ito. Dahil ito ay opposite side, linear pa rin siya. Itong mga trans fats na ito ay mas delikado kasi mas mahirap silang i-break down. Kasi nga, na siya, no? Solid na siya at room temperature. At the same time, may double bond siya. Mas mahirap siyang i-break down. Okay? However, meron tayong tinatawag na good fats. Hindi lahat ng fats ay masama sa atin. Meron tayong mga good fats na kailangan nating isupply sa diet natin. Example nito, yung omega-3 na pwede natin makita sa fishes and some vegetables and fruits na kailangan natin sa normal growth, and also, they are thought to provide protection against cardiovascular diseases. So, opposite nung ating bad fat na including yung saturated fatty acid and the trans fats. Okay? So, ang major function of fats ay yung energy storage. So, yung mga human, ng excess na food na kinakain natin ay ini-store natin sa reserve na tinatawag nating adipose cell. Itong mga adipose cell ay hindi lang siya ginagamit as energy storage, ginagamit din siya as cushions of our vital organs and also insulation of our body. Okay, let's go to the next type of lipids. So, kanina tapos na tayo doon sa triglycerides. Punta ngayon tayo sa phospholipids. Ang pinagkaiba ng phospholipids sa triglycerides ay meron itong fatty acids. Meron din siyang glycerol, pero merong naka-attach na phosphate group doon sa glycerol. So, instead of the third fatty acid, meron tayong phosphate group na naka-attach. Okay, the two fatty acid tails are hydrophobic, kapareho pa rin ng fatty acids na naka-attach sa triglyceride natin. But the phosphate group na naka-attach sa glycerol natin is hydrophilic, making this molecule na meron siyang hydrophilic head and hydrophobic tail. Okay, so ito ng ating structure. So ito ng ating glycerol. So, nung sa unang OH, ang naka-attach natin ay yung dalawang fatty acids. Tapos, ito yung ating phosphate group. Itong phosphate group natin ay hydrophilic. Itong ating fatty acid tail ay hydrophobic. Now, meron kayong makikitang illustration ng phospholipid na naka-bend, parang naka-liyad yung isang paa niya, no? This is because of the cis double bond. So, dahil ito dun sa ating unsaturation of this molecule. Okay? So, kung titignan natin, ito yung ating symbol na nakikita nyo sa inyong mga textbook. At in aqueous solution, nagpo-form sila ng ganito, ng bilayer natin. Phospholipid bilayer, kasi kailangan nga natin itago yung ating hydrophobic tail kasi ayaw nila ng water, at ng hydrophilic head natin na nakalabas. Okay? Ito yung ating illustration kanina. Okay. So, katulad sabi ko sa inyo kanina, when phospholipid are added to water, they self-assemble in a structure na tinatawag nating double layer. Okay, at the surface of the cell, the phospholipids are also arranged in bilayer, with the hydrophobic tail pointing toward the interior, and the phospholipids or the phosphate group, no, it is nasa labas ng ating structure. Okay? Okay, the third type ng ating i-discuss are the steroids. Yung steroids are lipid characterized by carbon skeleton consisting of 4 fused rings. So, unlike yung ating mga triglyceride at phospholipid, ito, ang characteristic nito ay meron siyang 4 rings. Okay? So, example ng steroids ay cholesterol. Meron tayong mga steroids na ginagamit for signaling, no? Pero meron tayong mga steroids sa tinatawag nating cholesterol. Okay, ang cholesterol is a type of steroid that is a component of animal cell membranes. Okay? Pag nag-accumulate ang cholesterol sa ating blood, these also may contribute to cardiovascular disease. Pero kailangan din natin ng cholesterol, pero not too much. Lahat naman ng too much ay masama. Okay? So, that's the end of our discussion for the